Hi friends. Hi there again. This is Sadi with another video. Today probably is gonna take me someplace, and it's gonna be really difficult to me to visualize what I wanted to go. What I wanted to do this video was, I don't know, kind of gesture for anyone to want to reach out and reflect on a serious topic. This is kind of off topic from my normal videos. Well, I just wanted to do it. I've been thinking quite a lot about this, trying not to put it off that much. Uh, yeah, mental health issues are something I probably gonna bring up every once in a while here in my channel. So today I wanted to talk about diagnosis of mine very personally that I got. Um, I would say probably 3 months ago, and it's been struggle still to find the peace I want. But here you go. I was diagnosed with uh, borderline personality disorder, high functioning. I will dare to pinpoint probably. Um, it was not a serious diagnosis, the one I got 3 months ago. I was, I think, briefly with this therapist that I was seeing every week, just once. Sorry for that movement. And yeah, it happened a lot of stuff in that month. It was, yeah, June, July this year. Um, and I don't know even where to start to explain. God, I didn't think it's gonna be this raw, confusing. I'm not the one to record myself to talk about personal stuff, but I think since I've been diagnosed and I've been reading quite a lot on the internet, trying to find out not as much the reasons, but the whys and the dynamics. I tend to go in this kind of realm that is more the abstract kind of way, so to speak, when it comes to almost anything. So personality disorders and mental health issues, something that I've been interesting for the past 2 years probably. So I think I want to start from what it's been these 3 months of journey with my BPD. But first of all, I would like to say that for me it is not as much as having the classic symptoms. I don't really like the term high functioning because I think at the core, and from what I've been reading a lot, I mean, the core is there for anyone who has classic VPD or discouraged, that is the high functioning part of the spectrum, or just BPD traits. Probably it's a little bit easier for people that have just only BPD traits. It is not really developed, but it's still a struggle for every one of us. So having that in mind, that start point, um, which I think high function is just typing, so to speak. Um, we like also to link that idea to the one that I try to keep my stigma checked when it comes to this personality disorder and any other one. Uh, so I think that playing that in mind, that it is having a disorder that would be personality one or any other cluster. I think this has to be taken. It has to be taken with grain of salt. So, as I said, um, because I try to remember remember myself to tell myself, and for any other one or other people that might watch this video with intention to find answers or even reflect on anyone else that has similarly um, diagnosis. How do you say it? I'm just struggling right now because I think that I don't quite stutter that much, but uh, I'm trying to find the words. Yeah, I was, as I was saying, it is not the best idea to take my word uh, as a diagnosis. So if you relate to the things I'm gonna say, just keep in mind as I try to tell myself, as I was mentioning, that this is not a personality per se. It is a disorder, and it should be taken in that regard very seriously. So I would fully, this kind of a disclaimer. I mean, you probably, I will highly suggest to go and find help from people who know about this a little bit more. So just talking about my experience here, because yeah, I think the third part of this disclaimer, if I could say so, it is having that in mind. It is a personality disorder. Try to phrase the term to people who live with BPD and know BPD people. So yeah, it's been quite interesting to me to try to reflect on what it is to have a high functioning or discouraged personality disorder. And I've been watching a lot of videos, as you can imagine. Um, Borderline Notes is one great of those. I've been bumping into what is other else? Another one. There is probably the ones from some specialists, psychiatrists and psychologists that have offered for a lot of years material for people who live with BPD. So yeah, it's been somehow a confusing journey for me to reflect on the idea about just uh, backtracking when I first had the diagnosis. It was in July, probably. Um, I got very confused as to what is going on. But then, having watched a lot of videos, um, sorry if I ramble a lot. I try to make this on the spot, and that makes me probably a little bit self-conscious. Just to think about putting this out there. But I'll try to probably do this for the good. Anyway, yeah, having watched those videos, I think I'm starting to fully realize what the dynamics are for people with BPD, and it's been somehow unlucky for me because it's almost a month since I stopped seeing my previous therapist. This was due to personal matters for him that I didn't quit. Was waiting for about a week to be reassigned, but then anyway, I was trying to almost draw the image of what it is that I needed to do. I got to read a bit about the options that they are out there, that it is DVT, and in my case, that I think that is the most suitable one is radical DVT. That's I think the right term. I forgot. Um, so it's been a roller coaster for me, and I think not in a good way, and even in the way that you could imagine for BPD, person with BPD. Sorry, um, it's gonna be hard for me to try to rewire that bit, try to consciously name. Um, but I think that's important. So anyway, as I was mentioning, this somehow a roller coaster for me. Today I feel quite neutral and flat, even just to think a bit tired that I needed to do this because I want to reflect a bit of myself and this recording and yeah, work on some ideas I have with this topic. But then, yeah, as I was saying, I was trying to draw a plan with this therapist about what I needed to do, but I mean, I've just got, I think, 3 sessions. Uh, he had to, well, he needed to, well, I mean, it was almost like something came up and I stopped seeing him, and I was left to my own devices for about, I think, a month, as I was saying, try to make sense and consciously being around myself and the dynamics I get to see, and almost rationalize um, the common ground for people with BPD. So what's the start for me to even separate my diagnosis with a classic one? Well, I think it is important then again to reiterate that is BPD is identity personality disorder, and as probably any other disorder, um, it's gonna fall something in between in this spectrum. So it varies for people to people, and I mean you can have comorbidity. I think that's the right term with anything else. So for a long time, I was mixed diagnosed with depression. I was told probably was high functioning depression, which didn't help quite out, to be frank, because couldn't notice until I had crisis and so on that were like that. But then anxiety also was diagnosed, just a minor general anxiety disorder. I mean, Um, and then I got BPD. So one of the things I was told when I was going to be diagnosed was to read a bit about the traits, you could say so, of the diagnosis, and the classic ones, or I mean the ones from the classic BPD, um, quote unquote, because I think then again it's important for me to use my words properly and wisely. So then the classic ones didn't resonate with me that much. Uh, so I think I asked for a bit of time to come around the idea and try to do my research as much as possible, and I did that. And then I heard about this other diagnosis that was the discouraged type. It was quite surprising to me to notice how much of the things I read there were things that I thought were about my personality, so to speak. And then I got to reflect on quite a lot of history I got with myself. Um, that you could say so was an indicative of a maladaptive pattern I have been carrying um, since, I don't know, 10 years, probably a little bit more. Um, so for the people out there, I think you can probably tell me. I highly suggest you, if you bump into this video and want to talk about high functioning and what is the things that you find hard or difficult to handle about the disorder, sometimes that you don't even notice because how nuanced and subtle this diagnosis is for discouraged or high functioning people with BPD, high functioning BPD, people with high functioning BPD, sorry. Um, because yeah, I think that another point is quite that I sometimes can't even notice that this is here. But then to talk about, I think, high functioning in general with any other disorder, it has to be almost not taking in mind that it is not that the traits or the symptoms are not severe, but it's more about, socially speaking, we could say that somehow some skills to help us cope with this social facade we have to put on. That I think is in general for any person living out there who don't want to be mistreated when they already got the diagnosis, and for any other person who might think that are not that are undiagnosed and the things they do are not quite normal. But I think that common ground to talk about things about normality in mental health issues are part of the problem right now. Um, because it's not about almost being intuitive about your disorder and how abnormal, quote unquote, you can behave or you might have behaved for a long time, but not to have the support to talk about things that are happening in the inside of mentally speaking, and you can even recognize because you don't have the skills um, to help you cope with certain topics. So I think at the core, BPD is that, but so deeply. I'm struggling to say the word taught because I really don't think that's the right word. I almost hesitating to say the word learn as well because I think that's more complex than that. But I think you might get the idea that it is different from a post-traumatic personality disorder and a complex one, even though there are quite similarities. I think at the core, BPD is the things you don't know that you learned, and PTSD or complex PTSD is having the feeling of remembering still uh, the events that get you there when it comes to disorders. So, yeah, having that in mind, I think I got very slow at explaining this. But then, yeah, it's something I've been struggling a lot to verbalize because I confused most of the time, and I notice I have every other thing that people with BPD have. That is almost like unbearable to think about for anyone with BPD. It could be high functioning, classic, or the other types of BPD. But then again, it's subtle because I really have to pay close attention because most of the things that happen to me in the inside, that is a trait for discouraged BPD, I eat. I internalize those things and almost have to I almost have to go for a really long period of time to explode, so to speak, um, because it's more like imploding to really get to see that I'm not doing well and I haven't been doing well for a long time. So it's tough because it's almost like battling with yourself. I mean, quite a long time for really long periods of time. I don't know. I think I want the help, as many other people, the help from therapists and psychology and so on. So I'm doing my research, but this month it's been a long one because I think the things that I've been struggling the most um, for very long years are the ones that socially I don't express, that I don't outwardly put out there with other people. Uh, Interpersonal relationships could be a challenge as well, but I think those are the ones that um, I doubt myself about those ones because I have some issues when it comes to relationships. What I think there's are the most ones uh, aligned with accommodate myself that much and really isolate myself uh, after being overwhelming, but then socially I keep up really well with putting this on. But I think it's really my personality, besides BPD, being quite reserved and to myself. But sometimes it is really a struggle for me to even identify it because the identity crises are there. But yes, almost remember yourself that you are this and not this other thing. There are the maladaptive patterns. So I think I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna haven't have ended it here. Took me for about 30 minutes. But then again, I think it wasn't the role I wanted to share this for anyone else. If someone wants me to explain and make another video about small details about this one, tell me, and I definitely gonna upload material later on when it comes to the channel that's photography. But then again, have a great day, and well, we'll see you soon.